Hello and welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Thursday, June 14th, 2018. Read our disclaimer quickly. Trading stocks is a high level of risk and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice, not making any recommendations, always for your further homework. Good morning, Sue here. Hope you've had a great week so far. It's been a big data week for the markets with central banks around the world chiming in on interest rates, most notably Jerome Powell yesterday, the US Fed chair, stating that he's going to stay true to his path on interest rates with the probability of 4 hikes in 2018, which is an increase of 1 hike from his prior forecast earlier in the year. So interest rates being pretty important to the market. We'll see how the market reacts in the days ahead. Also worth noting, the ECB will probably make a policy statement today or tomorrow on their bond buying program, and the Chinese central bank left rates unchanged overnight. So a lot of big data coming at the market that we want to be aware of. But with that, let's get into today's video. If you know me, you know I always start my videos off with a look at the Russell Index. And for that, I use the IWM, which is the ETF that represents the Russell 2000. And I like to step back and take a look at it on a 5-year monthly time frame. So I've taken away all my drawings. The only thing on the chart is the blue line, which is the 8-day EMA. And here are the monthly candles so far. So here's May. This is June so far. So May was bullish. June so far following through on May with a bullish looking candle. Now I'm going to put my drawings back in. And this black line here, the diagonal black line, is the most important line on the chart to me. Why? Because it held price in on the Russell through all of 2017, and then we had this lift up and out over the top of the diagonal black line in the latter part of 2017, but it sunk below in February. The end of January, February is kind of wonky. It could not close above it in April or May, but it did in June. So I've drawn a new line of support resistance right here, my pink line, that I want to pay attention to on the smaller time frame. So I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 1-year weekly. And here's that same black diagonal line, the pink line of short-term support resistance, and here's where we are right here, right now. So up and over the blue, continuing to show strength. But as I said earlier, I want to watch to see the market's reaction to all that interest rate stuff. I'm going to move it away from the 1-year weekly to the 6-month daily. Again, up and over the blue 8-day EMA, which I use as my guide. As long as price is up and over the 8-day EMA on the daily, weekly chart, I am adding new names to my watch list. So keeping a close eye here. We had a red reaction to that red day yesterday in response to that interest rate decision, so I want to make sure that it doesn't start to roll here and that we do get that continued strength. So being extra careful in this area. But with price up and over the 8-day, I will be adding a new name to my watch list this morning. And the new name I'm adding to our watch list this morning is Telus Corporation, ticker symbol TU on the New York Stock Exchange. This is a dual listed Canadian company, so it also trades on the TSX. We are looking at it on the US side. Before I get into the chart, let me tell you a little bit more about the company. Telus Corporation is one of Canada's largest telecommunications companies. If you know me at Chart of the Day Cafe, I am all about the scores underneath my charts, and Telus has a good value score. My focus is on value and growth. So it's got a good value score with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 18%. A current PE of 15.85 and a current dividend yield of 3.54%. So I love that combination of relatively low PE, forecasted earnings growth that is nice and high, and dividend. So let's get back to the chart. We're looking at the 5-year monthly chart. As you can see on the 5-year monthly, for the most part in an uptrend, it had this double bottom back here, consolidated, and then moved higher up and over this area of support. Again, we're looking at the monthly. and it looks as though it's shaping up to have a healthy candle for this month of June. So love the area that we're in and want to drill down into this area here. So I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 1-year weekly. And as you can see, it's been sort of bouncing around this area of support. Bounced around in March and April, lifted, came in to retest, but it made a higher high over here. Again, we're looking at the weekly. It had a nice solid week last week, and it looks like it may be poised to continue to complement last week's candle by going higher here. I have no idea whether it will or not. It's all about what the markets overall want to do, but between the scores, the sector, and the chart, this one looks good to me. I'm going to move it away from the 1-year monthly to the 3-month daily. So we're fine-tuning a little bit more here, and I'm going to identify a little area of consolidation right here. So this is the stronger support line down here, more longer term, but this is short term as to this week. So you see how it's been trading sideways. It is up and over the blue 8-day EMA, which I use as my guide. What I would be looking for with Telus in a continued strong market environment would be a move off this area of consolidation and up into my green circle. So I know everyone has their own way of doing things. What I like to see is a 3 and 8 cross. So it already has the cross where the 3 EMA moves up and over the 8-day EMA. It bounced off this area of support. The cross came in, but it's been trading sideways. The moving averages are kind of flat. What I would be looking for would be pick up here and a move into my green circle and the moving averages ticking higher. We'll see if that happens. But I like the look of the chart. I love the dividend. I like the low PE. In a rising market environment, I would expect this one to start to move higher. We will see. Along with my new watch list pick, I also like to take a look at the sector that it's in, and for that we're looking at IYZ, which is the ETF for the telecommunications sector. 5-year monthly chart. As you can see, it's trading sideways, but it looks as though it may be lifting off this area of long-term support. So 5-year monthly chart came in 2015 and 16. We had these big strong volume bars and it started to lift, came into this high, and it's come down to retest this area of support, but it's making a somewhat higher high than it did here. I like to see that kind of formation. And so if the sector overall starts to lift here, and so far we're getting a bullish candle for the month, then Telus should benefit from that rise in the sector. And just as a reminder, Telus, we're going to go back to the Telus chart for a sec, but if the sector's been trading sideways and maybe lifting here, Telus is already in a stronger uptrend. So where the sector's been trading sideways, Telus has had a better run of it with more of a pronounced uptrend in the last couple of years. So should the sector lift, I would expect Telus to lift with it from this area. That's my thinking. Along with that, I also like to take a look at seasonality, and for that I go over to equityclock.com, an excellent, excellent site. I want to see if my new watch list pick has seasonal favor. And as you can see, it comes into seasonal strength towards the end of July. So currently we do not have seasonality too much in our favor, but this is always a good data point to know about. For me, the chart and the chart price action prevails over the seasonality chart, but I always like to know seasonality anyway. So that's another data point to keep in mind. I also like to spin over to finviz.com and see if I've got analyst support for my new watch list pick. And here's the analyst section for Telus. You can see that it had a recent downgrade, but for the most part, it's been pretty positive of late through 2018 and 17. So I will let you decide on that one. I'm also going to include this Motley Fool article with today's video. It compares Shaw and Telus. I'm sorry I can't get it into my screen, but I'll include the whole article. It's dated December of 2017, but I like the way they analyze the difference between Shaw and Telus and give you some good data. So I'll include this article as well. And so to summarize, let's go back and check the boxes for Telus. I started today's video with a look at the Russell Index. I always want to make sure that before I put a new name forward for my watch list, I'm putting it forward in a rising market environment. And as we could see, the IWM, which is the ETF for the Russell 2000, is up and over the 8-day EMA on both the daily and weekly charts. Having said that, a lot of data coming into the market. We want to be extra careful and cautious in this area. We looked at the sector that Telus is in, the ETF IYZ, which is trending sideways on the 5-year chart, but looks to be lifting off an area of support. We looked at the chart for Telus. It's in an uptrend on the 5-year chart and at an area of possible price support and lift. Emphasis on possible. I have no idea which way it goes. It's all about watching price and letting price lead. It's got a good value score. It's got a good growth score. These are highlighted because they're absolutely critical for me. Good growth score with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 18%. Current dividend yield of 3.54%. It does have a 3 and 8 EMA cross, but as we noted in the video, it's consolidating. I want to see it lift higher from here. I'm going to leave you to decide whether you want to check these boxes. Seasonality, we looked at that. Analyst support, it's had a recent downgrade, but prior to that downgrade, a lot of support from analysts. So I'll leave that up to you. Current PE of 15.85, and it looks as though their next earnings are on August 10th. As a reminder, these videos go out every Tuesday and Thursday morning. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.